welcome everybody to A Place Called Resilience, the podcast. I'm Martin Perry. It's my pleasure and privilege to welcome our guest today from Israel, Drora Ossia. Drora, greetings.
Hi, hello.
Welcome. Lovely to see you.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Wonderful. Now, A Place Called Resilience podcast invites people to share, talk about their journey, relationship, stories with the quality of resilience, which I believe is a very valuable and vital commodity for anyone going on a personal development, spiritual development journey at this time. And then one of the reasons for inviting you on the call is I believe that when we share our resilient stories, it can both inspire and fortify others to
Absolutely.
feel stronger, more contained, more able to go on in the face of change, challenge, and adversity. So that's the premise for this adventure. And I'm really keen to chat with you to hear about your journey, life journey, and the part resilience has played in that. So thank you for coming on. When if I were to say to you, what part has resilience played in your life and your journey, bringing you to the point you're at today, what would you say?
Wow. What a big question. Yeah. Um, One of the ingredients, I think, I would say, to do with the resilience, specific resilience of that life, my life, is not giving up. Never, ever giving up. Sometimes it seemed that I do, but not really. So, you know, one thing I recall is at the age of 18, when I just began, in Israel, you go to the army at the age of 18. So when I left the house for the army, I knew that I will not come back home to relive with my parents. And at that time, I'm over 60. So at that time, it wasn't usual for young people to leave the parents' house. And somehow I knew I will not come back. I will live independently and really earn my living and not lean on my parents' help. And I did. I actually did. And it was a knowing. It was an inside knowing in me that it's finished. That stage has finished, and I'm about to step to a different stage in my life.
One of the first things you said and talked about was you didn't give up or you haven't given up, which is presumably been a fundamental characteristic
Yeah.
on your journey.
Mm-hmm.
Why have you not given up?
I don't think it's a question that I can ask. It's not within a reason. It's more a feeling or more a sense, internal, very strong sense that it's not an option to give up. Not an option. I can't go back. I can't leave everything behind. I'm going forward. My face is forward. And be it what it may be, I trust. And this is another ingredient. I have a strong trust in whatever it is that is um, going side to side with me, or as I have what's the word? It's like a train, the trains that they have in Europe, a tram in Holland, that the tram is going on the in the rails, but it's connected. It's connected by the wire upward, up there. So that's the feeling I have, is that I'm here, I'm doing that, I'm working, I'm doing all kinds of things, but there's something that is going with me all along. And sometimes I see it and I feel it stronger, and sometimes less, but it's there. And trust it, that it will be there, that it's there to help, to guide, to whisper, whatever. One time I went to a shop of books and toys for children, and on the shelf there were few books. It was mainly a store of toys, very, very high quality toys. But there was one shelf of books, and I didn't intend to buy a book. But then I saw the shelf, and I put my hand on one of the books, and I took it out, and I didn't know the author, I didn't know the content, but I knew that I'm going to take this book with me home. So I paid for it, and I took it home, and I read it. Apparently, it was a book about education, which I'm a teacher, so a book about education, but very special book of education, very deep, profound perceptions about education. And it really caused such a turbulence internally, looking at my childhood, causing me to look at my childhood, causing me to look at me as a parent, as a mother for two boys, very grown up already. But yeah, it was so special, this book, and I didn't know anything about it before, but I knew by the feeling. Well, this is my explanation, but the feeling of holding the book in my hand, I knew that I'm taking it. This is an example of something that is part of the journey of my life. That from time to time, there's something that is whispering in a way, or offering, or inviting, or telling what to do, where to go. I listen to it. If I do, sometimes I don't, probably. But the moments that I know I listened, it was very effective. Yeah. Yeah, and about giving up, I'm teaching already for more than 25 years, almost 30. And one of the things that I carry is the importance of not giving up for the children. I teach them to do embroidery. I teach them to knit. I teach them all kinds of materials and learning skills. But it's not important, the embroidery and the sewing. It's just a expression, outward expression, or a result of work that they can be very proud of and show their parents and show themselves and be proud. But yeah, it's important, but not What is important for me is the fact that whilst they learn, whilst they exercise the skills, the new skills that are needed for embroidery, for example, yeah, or for knitting, whilst they do it, they come across moments where they need to go back and undo what they did because of a mistake. And for them, it's not easy. It's not easy for a child to go back and to do it again. But I tell them, listen, it's not important, the embroidery. What is important is that you are now exercising. You are now exercising what you will meet later in your life, or even now in other things, that you don't give up, you don't shuffle, you don't become, you don't, yeah, you don't shiver in the face of failure, so-called, or needing to go back and do it again. But you are exercising the strength, the resilience that your life needs for your future. And this is just an exercise about embroidery. It's not important, but you build it in yourself internally. And this is what is important. So now you are exercising it on a very simple thing. Later in life, you'll have to, you'll meet moments in your life or situations where you will have to bring your resilience up. And if you build it now, it's there. And when I tell them that, they look at me and something in them, it goes deep. It goes deep inside. They understand that they are doing something else apart from what is being seen by the eyes. Yeah.
I'm guessing, as well as you telling them, they feel that from you.
Yeah.
So for that to be compelling for them, they must also look at you
Yeah,
and feel and sense that what you're asking them to do is also in you
that's right. And
because you
sometimes,
have
yeah,
been
go
there
on.
in
Mm-hmm.
different scenarios, having to go back and not give up. And so I'm guessing you've built that in yourself in such a way that you can then teach it.
Yes, that's very true. And sometimes I ask a child to come and sit by me, take a chair and sit by me so I can look at his work, her work, more frequently. And they realize, sometimes they realize that they do it better. And they say, well, because I sit near you. So something in that is moving on, is passing from from me to
Yeah.
them, and yeah, and not only the knowing or the know-how, but maybe also other things that are passing, yeah, from.
If you were 20 years old and sat next to them, would they feel the same not give up resonance from you that they would feel from you now?
If I would be 20.
If you were 20 years old as a
Mm-hmm.
teacher in that classroom with those children and
Yeah.
said, young person, come and sit next to me, would they have felt the same light radiation presence from you at 20 in relation to don't give up, be able to go on, and
Mm-hmm.
what they feel now?
Well, I think it was strengthening within me in the years that I've gone, in the years that I lived so far. The experience was gathering, the situations that I faced was opportunities for me to practice resilience, to practice being strong and not giving up. So I think, well, maybe I had it then. I'm sure I did, but not in that capacity. I think it's grown ever since. Um,
Are there moments in your life that you can recall where you needed to draw on the quality of resilience more than others, when resilience got you through difficult times or hard times or dark times or challenging times, and you came out the other side like the children with their embroidery, but more resilient and more wiser about yourself?
well, it's not in that way that you describe it. I would say that when I'm in a time of difficulty, I am in time of difficulty, and but something inside knows that, and this is very comforting for me. This is one of the comfort points in my life. The thought, the surety, actually, the confidence that everything in life is moving. Nothing stays the same. Even the good times, even the bad times, everything is moving. Nothing stays as it was forever. Nothing. So whenever I am in difficult times, something in me knows that this is for short times, this is for period of time, be it long, be it short, but it will end. So it's confidence within, and it's also the knowing that what I want to say is that I don't try to call over, to change the situation, to make it brighter or to make it different. I just wait successfully, I would call. I presume I don't wait and do nothing, but in the mode, in the internal mode of me, it's waiting because it's knowing that it will pass. And in the past, it could take some time, long time. I would say that now it's shorter. It becomes shorter times. Yeah.
So there's a couple of things here. One is the knowledge or the wisdom that beyond this moment of difficulty, there is something better, which then allows you to wait successfully, which feels like you don't get caught up in the difficulty. You're aware of the difficulty, but in waiting successfully, there's a lightness of being that recognizes beyond the darkness of the night, tomorrow the sun will rise and a new day is born. And with it, a new opportunity, and that which was dark shall pass. And thus, whilst I am in the dark, I held on to the light. for that is what will soon replace the dark. Is that correct?
Yes, it's correct, but I would say that it's not necessarily that light will replace the darkness. It's not that it's opposites, apparent opposites. It's a change will come. A change will come, be it darker or be it lighter, but it will not stay the same. So another opportunity will appear. I don't know what. I don't wait for the best to come or to the light to come, although we're all looking for the light and the good times, of course. But I trust that it will be something else.
And when you say
Yeah.
you're waiting successfully, what exactly are you doing? What are you thinking or feeling in that period of waiting successfully?
Well, in that period, it can be many things. It can be because we are human beings, and we have within ourselves so many different lives, so many different lives. So it can be that my emotions will run all over to different directions, and my fear will come up of what have I done or whatever. Yeah, it depends on the situation. So it's very humanly to think that, to feel that things internally in us, because we have psychologies, we have attachments, we have our wishes and wants and etc. etc. It's all there. So this is, I would say, the first phase of it would be that, turbulence, because one finds himself or I find myself in a situation which I wasn't before. So it's like a boat in the sea, in a very stormy sea. But then there is a calming down. There's coming back to my senses. There is some what's the word? But it's coming back to my balance. Yeah, balance, internal balance, to the Drora that I know. And then there is a bit of quietness. And then trust can come. And then I become curious of what will happen. And sometimes I also do steps to cause it to happen, of course. I'm not just, waiting. It's not waiting successfully is not just doing nothing, but it's waiting for something to become clear internally, so I know what I need to do. So it's not rushing to do. It's not rushing to find a solution immediately. Because sometimes we want to have a solution for some situation, but we run all over. We run to different directions, and we are lost in a way. So I need to find myself first. And then I can find or hear what is needed to be done, and I do. I'll give you an example of a situation that for me was a milestone in my life. And it was really revealing so much for me, and it's continuing with me. This as a teacher, I went to one day to the teacher's room in the break, and I was sitting and having my breakfast, and there were other two teachers sitting nearby and speaking between them, and suddenly came another teacher, came in, and she was in a turbulence. She was shouting, she was really cursing even. She was saying why I don't want to teach anymore, and etc., etc. You know, she was bursting out. And I was having my breakfast. So the other teachers, I saw them saying to her, as we usually do when someone is sharing with us his difficulty, they say, you know, it will pass on, everything is okay. And she couldn't respond to that. She continued with her shouting and her frustration of what was in the lesson with the children. And the other teacher also say to her, no, listen, you will calm down. You'll see it, so it will be okay. And no, it didn't help. It didn't help. And as she continued, I was about, I stood up. I was really about to leave the room because they said what they said and it didn't help. And I couldn't find out anything that I can add to that because it didn't help. So I was about to leave. I was heading to the door, but I found myself heading to her. It was absolutely not my decision. I didn't decide to go to her. I was about to leave the room. But then I found myself going towards her and just giving her a big hug. And it was very powerful because the moment I hugged her, she put her head on my shoulder and she began to cry, which she didn't do before. She shouted. And she relaxed in turn. I mean, she was in a different state. And I didn't say a word. No, it was no need for that. But it was completely, it was not a decision that was done there. It was reacting to a need, which my complex registered, and something caused me, not me, something caused me to go to her and hug her. And then another thing happened. She began, after she cried, she stopped crying and she said that the solution that she needed. She said she knew what is needed. She knew what she needed to do. She didn't need us to tell her. She didn't need any advice. She knew, her complex knew. She just needed someone to be with her and to give her the feeling that she is not alone in that frustration, anger, whatever. This was such a big lesson for me. And ever since, it's going with me. That many times we think we know the solution for someone else. What people need is to feel that they are not alone and that someone is seeing them.
Yeah, it's like you're describing compassion, warmth, love, and empathy as aids to resilience. One might imagine that resilience unto itself was a rigorous characteristic,
Mm.
which it may well be in part, but your story alerts us to the wisdom of love as an aid to melting the barriers to continuance. The person experiencing difficulty, alone with the difficulty, cannot see a way forward because they are immersed in difficulty.
Yeah.
In the presence of love, the difficulty melts and the person feels reassured, energized, and understood, and thus can continue on their way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So these are powerful ingredients.
And I would add one more thing about that, in addition to what you said, is that I believe that we all carry resilience within ourselves as human beings. Every one of us, even if we are weak at the moment, even if we don't think we do carry resilience. It's hidden sometimes, sometimes it's latent, sometimes it slips, yeah, but it's there.
Yeah.
We
So
got
let's
it, yeah.
imagine somebody might be watching this podcast, is struggling right now, feels weak, and they hear you saying resilience is gifted to us all. What encouragement would you offer that person who might be feeling low or down or struggling right now and can't find the resilience you're describing?
It's a blending of trust, of something higher than oneself that it will help. Trust in not only that it's not only us there, but whatever we are going through, whatever you are going through, young or old stranger that are in difficulty now, it will end. It will not stay the same. And what is important is the story you tell yourself. What story you tell yourself actually? Because every difficult moment that we face here on this planet in our very short life, every moment of difficulty can be a challenge, can be an opportunity, can be a gift even, I would say, from somewhere in creation for you to overcome, for you to find your strengths, for you to find who you are, for you to find what you think you don't carry, but it's there. And so difficult times are, in a way, gifts, if we choose to look at it that way.
So he's saying one of the qualities is gratitude and appreciation. Be thankful for what you have, not what you don't have,
Yeah,
because gratitude brings light, it brings a balm to the soul and some well-being. And then also you've said something interesting, which is do for others, give. For the act of giving can take one out of one's own situation or the melancholy or wallowing in that which won't change into a course of action
yeah, absolutely.
where the act of giving, generosity, thinking about another takes you out of the shadows of oneself and instantly creates glow. The act of thoughtfulness,
Absolutely.
compassion. So we have gratitude and we have generosity as two potential allies in the transition from difficulty, darkness, into the light of change, and thus aids to resilience. So we've compiled some interesting qualities: gratitude, generosity, love, compassion, empathy. All soft qualities. They're not
Yeah.
driving qualities. They're not masculine qualities.
Mm-hmm.
They have a feminine nature,
Mm-hmm.
come
Yeah.
from the heart and the soul, the warmth of kind, a deeper humanity, but are aids to resilience.
Yes, absolutely. I would add another thing which comes now, and it's very apparent in children, but also can be with adults. Children, many times compare. They compare themselves to others. They compare the others to themselves. They see something in another child and they want to be like him or to have what he has or whatever. And also adults can do it. And I think, and it's very much to do with resilience, the ability to relate to others without putting oneself in the picture, without saying he has that, I don't have that, or whatever. Yeah, the situation is, because we can't compare ourselves to other human beings. We are unique human beings. We are unique spark of God. The other is a different unique spark of God, but he is not the same. We can't be like him as much as we want. We are what we are. So to accept oneself, the uniqueness of one's life, and to see the blessing of it, to be thankful for that, and to continue to develop it rather than trying to be someone else.
Well, this is a life's journey
Yeah.
to be able to recognize what makes myself the only me there's ever been in the history of the universe.
Yeah.
And that is like a mind that has built unto itself a recognition of one's own strengths and qualities and character, and knowing what one is like, which we have from a very early age. It can be conditioned out of us. And then we have the opportunity to refine and rediscover those
Yes.
insights about ourselves
Mhm.
that negate comparison, however persuasive comparison is.
Mhm.
But are you intimating that that relationship with oneself is fundamental to also being able to build the character of resilience and being able to go on? Recognize your own uniqueness and specialness, and in doing so, that's a further aid to being able to go on. Resilience. But
Mm.
the question is why?
Mm. Yeah. Good question.
Thank you.
What comes to mind? Well, one can ask oneself a question, or ask God or creation a question. Why creation did put here so many human beings, so many different human beings? Is there a reason for that? There's no two human beings with the same fingerprints. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's unbelievable. So, is there a reason for that? Could it be that every human, unique life has a purpose or has a something to fulfill here? And it's different to another purpose? So what's the point to compare? If we
Yeah.
are having different journeys here, so probably you need to do this, I need to do that. I need to find out, of course, nobody tells me. Everyone needs to find what the special uniqueness that he is fulfilling,
Yeah.
that he is giving, that is,
Yeah, because it makes me think that in creating original and unique human beings, the gods would want each of those human beings to go on a journey of discovery to actually unlock and unearth the gifts that have been coded inside of them. In other words, our potential, the who we are not yet. And that resilience is an essential quality to have because the journey of discovery doesn't end at 40 or 50 or 60. It doesn't end on our biggest success or our greatest glory. The journey of self-discovery continues until we've taken our last breath. But also it opens up another question, which is something you introduced to us very early on in our conversation today, which is that which whispers,
mm,
and brought to us a consideration that there is you, but also something else, which has the quality of guidance,
yes,
prompting, watching out for you,
yeah,
which, if what you're saying is true, that the gods have created each of us unique for us to discover a reason and purpose, the gods may also send help so that we don't abandon the journey, we don't get completely lost or give up, because there is much to discover. And that discovery may not just aid ourselves, it may aid the gods too. That's for another time.
yeah,
But I think it's very interesting, the idea of the whisperer, that you, we, I are not alone, and that there is more that maybe we don't see, but nevertheless can help. I wonder what your relationship with that whispering guidance has been like over the years, and is there anything
mm,
you could say about that?
mm. Yes, definitely I can say there were moments, it's moments. It's never, you know, a big thing, but it's very, very delicate. Like it feels like a curtain that is being put aside to allow something to pass, and then the curtains closes. And it can be for a second. For example, one moment when myself and my husband, which then when we were young, we were just friends, and we were walking the road in the village that we lived then, and we were speaking, we were having a conversation. And suddenly, out of the blue, as if something lifted the curtain for me to see him, to see him at the core of him. It's not that I saw it in the eyes, but I felt it in my heart, as if something revealed for me what is the man that is standing in front of me. in front of me. It was very, very powerful. And it's going with me ever since. Later we got married, etc., etc. But then it was a moment of curtain being pulled and something whispered. And I could hear it. There were moments like that when my firstborn son, he was maybe 2 months, maybe less. And I was holding him on my arms and he was sleeping and I looked at him. And again, the curtain was lifted. And I can't explain what I saw, but I felt something so vast, so strong about human life. And then, oops, the curtain was pulled down and it finished. Very cherished moments that I'm sure each one of us human beings have. Moments that we are with something that is not only us, but something that is joining and is saying to us something, or showing us something, or whispering something.
And how do you imagine that unto itself is an aid to resilience?
Well, it helps us to see that it's not only up to us. At least some of it is not up to us. That we are needed, we are blessed, and that maybe we are guarded also by something else. And therefore, we might continue to enable us to continue, to keep up with it, to not give up, to move on, to find out, to reveal there's something else that is with us. So it's part of resilience because something wants us. Maybe something wants us to stay with it, to not give up. Maybe something needs us to be there. Yeah.
It feels like a very good note to bring a pause to our conversation.
Yes.
Do you have any final words in summing up the journey today, an exploration into resilience, your life, parts of your story, experiences and values inside of that?
Yeah, maybe to say that it's in our choice in a way. We choose, we can choose. We can actually choose to tell ourselves the story that we believe in. And in a way, it's a prayer. It's our personal prayer for life. Our story is our personal prayer. I don't know, these are the words that is coming to me now.
What
Yeah.
might be some of the words of that prayer?
Maybe something like that. Grant me the resilience that is needed for that life to fulfill its promise.
Thank you very much. It's a very warming and devotional note to draw our conversation to a pause.
Great. Thank you for the opportunity,
Thank you
Martin.
very much for joining us, sharing your story, insights, values. I'm hopeful and sure they will help others,
I hope so. I
which is the
do.
purpose of these conversations.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Martin, for the opportunity.